that reminds me of that. I think it was a 4 minute mile that for years nobody broke the record, and then somebody broke it, and everybody, a lot of people broke it because they understood it was possible, right? So I think in our communities, something is happening around asking, and especially money, that we just haven't seen it, so we think it's impossible, right? Or we haven't seen it in our community. So I think that's a great point, and I think that connects a lot with the other point that we were mentioning, which is advocating for yourself. This is something that I remember, especially doing that transition. I did undergrad in Venezuela, I did grad school here, and here there's a lot about the 30-second pitch. There's a lot about talking about yourself and telling your stories. You don't do any of that in Venezuela. And it was a little bit uncomfortable at the beginning. What was your experience in getting comfortable with promoting yourself? How do you deal with the typical fear of sounding egotistical when you're
Mm,
doing self-promotion?
yeah. Well, I remember when I was growing up, I grew up, as I mentioned, in a low income household. And my parents, through a lot of hard work, um, were able to manage to save enough money to buy a home in Los Angeles at the time, which is now unbelievable, but it goes to show you how much the cost of living has changed. That at the time, a housekeeper and a mechanic could buy a home, right? So we bought a home when I was in going into seventh grade. And the home that my parents bought in LA um, zoned me to one of the worst performing schools in the county. And had they bought the house a few blocks over, I would have been zoned to one of the best performing schools in the county. And I mentioned this to my middle school teacher. Um, and very serendipitously, she said, my ex-husband is the principal of that school that is the best performing school. Let me see if I can schedule a meeting with him. So I will never forget to this day. We got that meeting scheduled. It was me and my mom. And I thought this would help. So I put together a folder of all my report cards in elementary school, of all the times I had one student of the month, everything that I thought was an accomplishment I had achieved in elementary school, I put it in a folder. And my mom and I took a bus and went over to Studio City and met with the principal, assistant principal, and made the case about why they should, allow me into that school. And I remember, he said, there's nothing I can do for you because you're not zoned to this school. And my mom and I started crying because all we wanted was a good education for me.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, we got turned away, and I went to a school that was pretty bad, and I didn't really learn much. My ticket out of poverty was that I got into a magnet high school that put me on a path to college. But what I learned from that experience, even though I was not successful, was to build up the courage to ask and to position yourself to be able to make an ask. And I did that throughout high school. I did that throughout college. And it got me very far. It got me admitted into college. It got me elected student body president. And it's helped me as I've led my career in the education nonprofit sector.